Afternoon all. Welcome to another beekeeping video with Brian. My name of my channel is Not That Brian. Bit of background, I'm an Aussie dad, born in New Zealand, been beekeeping now for about 7 years. Have 5 hives, 4 of whom are inhabited at the moment. Live above the snow line, so beekeeping for me has a focus on keeping them alive through cool climates. If you've got that kind of background or that's what you're trying to learn, this is a great channel. But also backyard beekeeping. So I'm not a commercial beekeeper. I'm, by day I've got an office job, by night I'm a dad, and on the weekends I'm a beekeeper. Still all the first two though. Now this hive, it's a Langstroth, but it's not your typical tall box Langstroth. As you can see, it's sort of a long hive. It's actually my favourite hive to work on. It's one of the easiest hives you'll ever get. It doesn't make as much honey as the others because it's got a bigger surface area, but it's just so easy to work on. So I have a mix of them, and yep, this is my favourite. Now, just to let you in on the goss, this hive is not a standard hive. When I first got it, it was just a pine box, 10mm pine. Bees struggled. They couldn't seem to thrive until I again insulated it. So you've seen one of my other hives here, which I'll turn you around, you can have a look. See that styrofoam insulation? Well, this hive, my Long Langstroth, has got all that inside it, underneath, that wood and in the lid. And then I've covered the whole outside in plywood, marine ply. And the bees love it. So without further ado, I do believe in not getting stung, so even though it's a pretty mellow hive, this one, I am going to smoke it up a little bit. Now, the hive itself runs all the way along here. The brood will be in this section, which is kind of corresponding to the first box. Then in this area, they'll be making honey. And over here, we have some sort of spare frames, and I have a frame feeder for them. Now, this hive, I'm not going to harvest honey from this year. Instead, what I'm doing is I'm preparing it for winter, and I'm using it to make frames of sugar honey. That's all I'm doing with this hive. Look at that. Easiest height to work on. It's all there. We can see some vent holes here that the bees have actually opened them up. They don't generally do that in summertime, but they've opened them up. That tells me they want a bit more ventilation. In wintertime, these holes, which you probably can't see, I'll show you now. These are your ventilation holes. In wintertime, they will generally fill these with propolis. But for some reason at the moment, they're open. And the bees are quite happy to leave them open. So that's their idea of air conditioning, which is pretty clever, isn't it? And by the way, if you like my style of presentation, if you like what you see, you want to learn more about beekeeping, come on the journey with me. It'd be good if you could subscribe. So without further ado, let's get into it. Easy wizzy, let's get busy. And you'll see that these have all got little lids on them. They're not like normal Langstroths, but very close. So I've picked up a little bit of this stuff during the week. Not really enough for me to concern myself about. I should really give these girls a bit of smoke. As you can see, just a few frames here, just sort of sitting there spare and empty. Now this hive, I don't think I'm going to inspect the whole hive. Last week it was under no danger of swarming, but I do want to understand how much honey it's making. Because A, I've been feeding it, but B, I just want to know how much honey it's making. So if you've not seen one of these, wow, that's incredible, girls. They've made this random frame. There's a bit more of it in there too. Just made it at random. I need to clean that up. do that. This is basically an insulation panel. Just sits in there. It's basically an outside panel, and it marks the exterior of the hive. Now this is my frame feeder, and all I put in here is sugar syrup. Just 1-to-1 sugar and water. I'm giving them one a week. I should probably do a bit more because they empty these in maybe 2 days, and they turn that into what I call sugar honey. So they're doing really, really well. Takes about 4 litres. So that'll have 2 kilos of sugar in there, and 2 litres of water, and they'll eat that pretty quickly. Now, to put it in perspective, a full frame of honey weighs about 4.5 kilos. Very heavy, very dense. Probably needs about 6 kilos of sugar to make one, because it's not the most efficient process, but hey. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do, and by the way, again, as I say, if you like watching what I do subscribe. Trying to grow the channel. Smart beekeeper, smart cookie, separates the hives. They always attach them to each other. I think they do that just to annoy me. Well, if I spoke bee, I could probably hear them laughing at me now, but I don't. I know enough to know when I'm about to get attacked though. So this is an empty frame that I put in last week. I haven't really started on that yet. That's okay, just good to know. Now we'll have a look at one of these. I can smell honey, very strong smell of honey. So we've got some honey going on there by the looks. Yeah, they're filling that with honey. And for those of you that aren't sure, by the way, what they're all doing, when you give them smoke, see that? They've all got their heads into their cells, all of them. When you smoke a hive, it makes the bees think that there's a fire coming. Now that activates a thought process where they may have to evacuate, or literally bug out, pun intended. So if they have to evacuate, they want to have a full tummy of honey. And you can see that they're not all flying out to attack me. There's actually a bit of honey in this one, I can feel the weight. They're all just taking precautions in case they have to bug out. There you go, girls. And if you don't have one of these and you're a beekeeper, a home beekeeper, get one. I used to get all my hives out using one of these, you know, and you can do it like that, and then use your fingers, but this is so much easier. Just a frame tool. I'm not sponsored by anybody, I'm just telling you they're a great tool to have. A little bit of honey in this one, I can feel the weight, and I can see that this is a sugar honey as well because it's not dark. It's got a light texture to it. So that means I've got basically 2 frames that are completely empty, and these 2 frames they're working on. Not a lot, I'll be hoping for more, but we will get into it and we'll see what we find with this frame. Ooh, I'm going to have to take the lid off because that one's wedged in a bit tight. And with your smoker, by the way, it's always a good idea to make sure that you have enough smoke going on that it's not going to go out. There's nothing worse than having your smoker go out and bees going nuts on you. Particularly in this suit. I have a hole in my bee suit. The bees haven't found it yet. Please don't tell them. Do you remember the Lord of the Rings when the dragon in The Hobbit got killed because he had a gap in his armour under the wing? Well, I feel a bit like him right now. Okay, lots of honey activity there. I can smell it. Definitely it's a sugar honey. They are making it. There's not enough of it, but they're making it. This next one's looking a little bit more promising though. I've got to be a little bit gentle with these because they're a 2-piece. And if I'm too heavy-handed, I can break my lid, and nobody wants that. Look at that. It's been a week, and they've filled this up with this burr comb, B-U-R-R-C-O-M-B, burr comb. And it's called burr comb because it basically sits outside the frames. And it sometimes has honey on it, sometimes, but if I leave it there and they keep building it up, I'm going to have real problems getting into my hive. And so it's a good idea to look at your hives regularly, and as a part of your inspection, just clean up the burr comb. Makes it a bit easier for you a bit down the track. Alright, let's have a look and see how much honey they've made. And I can't help myself, I want to see the queen. So I am actually going to have a look inside. It's a beautiful fine day. Temperature's about 28 degrees Celsius. So it's actually a really good day to be looking in your hive. You're not risking the brood or anything like that. Now, if you're thinking about getting into beekeeping, just remember, you can't open your hive on a cool day. So if it's like a 13-degree day or under, don't open your hive. You will kill the babies. There you go. We're starting to cap that one out. A lot of natural honey in there. I can see by the dark colour there's a lot of weight in this. So I'm just going to leave that for them. I'm not going to touch that. I'm probably not going to take anything more out of this hive for the rest of the season actually, because I've already used a bit of it. I'm starting off a nucleus hive. So I've had to take some of the honey and some of the eggs from this one to give them a bit of help. Yet more honey there, not capped out though. So they're working on 4 at least of these, which is great. Well, I can see more honey in this one. Apologies for the sniffling, by the way. Smoke does that to me. Hands up if smoke makes your nose run and nose sniffle. If you're like me, it will. Just loosen us off. So we're all separated there. Sorry girls. And just to repeat, of course, if you enjoy my content, you like the way I'm talking, the way I'm presenting, it'd be awesome if you could subscribe. So here we have a mixture of honey and brood, and you'll get that with Long Langstroths because there isn't a queen excluder. Oh, sorry girls, that wasn't the cleverest thing I'll do today. I never did say I was clever, did I? My name's Brian, by the way. The channel's Not That Brian, and I'm not clever. But I do tell a mean dad joke. And I'm broadcasting today from Melbourne, Australia. And look, there we have a little queen cup. Not seeing any brood cells. I will knock that queen cup off. Don't get any ideas, girls. You don't need to swarm. You've got plenty of space. The neighbours are awesome, and the landlord's a great guy. You don't need to go in. So you're very happy with what I'm seeing here. Now what I'm going to do, if I leave that queen cup there and they keep building it out, it might mean that they end up with, you know, a queen cell. So I just destroy it by knocking it off like that. It might seem a little strange, but I really want to see a lot of drone cells. I don't think I'm going to see them inside because it doesn't really look like it's going there. I want to see a lot of drone cells because when I see them, I want to do a drone uncap. The reason I want to do a drone uncap is to check the varroa. I don't think sugar shake's a particularly good way of doing it. Now, I don't think my hive's got varroa. I'm a fair way away from the most recent infections, but it's been such a fast-moving situation that it's not a matter of if, but when it gets here. I'm just kidding myself if I think it's not. So definitely it's getting here at some point. Lots of brood cells, lots of brood there, a couple of drone cells, you can see them up here. A couple of drone cells there, and a queen cup. So I just ruin that queen cup so they don't get any ideas. But no actual queen cells. Nice and gentle, in we go. Here we go, girls. So we've been beekeeping now about 7 years. If you're a beekeeper or you're thinking about getting into beekeeping, put a comment as to why you got into beekeeping and what you're getting out of it. I love it, it's so rewarding. But if you're thinking about getting into beekeeping and you've got any questions, same thing, ask them in the comments. Loads of good Facebook forums as well. I'm on half of them. Look at that. That's got a solid brood pattern on it. Really, really well, you know, structured. Busy queen doing all the right things. Just get rid of that queen cup. A couple of bees here telling me what's what. Can you hear them? They've got a slightly different tone. It's kind of a off-you-go tone. Normally gets rid of. I don't like it. At the same time, if I let that bee stay agitated, the others get agitated too. Trust me. Nobody wants that. As you can can see, basically a very mellow hive, but I'm being super respectful as well. Okay, so this is a little bit interesting. What have we got going on here? So on the outer hive is where they typically do two things. They'll typically put honey in there, and they haven't at this stage. What they've got is plenty of brood going on, which is interesting. It's not wrong, it's just what happens. There's no right and wrong, really. But also, I think I could see what was a queen cell. I can't really tell though. Such a lot of bees in there. So there's only one way to deal with that. You're going to hop off. No, not a queen cell. Just really strange comb, the way they've put it together. There's a lot of bees there though, I don't want to upset them. So I'll put them all back in there. And now let's start putting it all back together again. Now it's important, by the way, when you have a beehive, to make sure it's level in this plane, it's sloping slightly forward towards the door. Anybody know why? What most people don't realise, I'm glad you asked by the way, what most people don't realise is that hives actually generate condensation. And if the door is uphill, the condensation slides back down into the hive where it pools, ponds. That is not cool. And what that does is cause mold and other problems. So the idea is that you have a front door where the condensation drains towards it and then drains out. There we go, girls. Got to make sure that's nice and snug, butted up well and smooth, because there's no gaps in this thing, or very few rather. Put my middle on, and we'll just buck them up. Buck them up nicely. Otherwise you wind up with frames that are, all over the place, which makes it hard to extract. And you've got to see this. Have a look at this. Got to see this. They're not trying to hurt me in any way whatsoever. They're just going about their business. A little bit, I might just add one of these frames in here. The next thing I'm going to do is fill this. And see how I've got the sticks and things in there? That's because when I fill it up with honey, they will float. And bees that get stuck in there won't drown. Well, I'm not filling it with honey, it's sugar syrup. And if you've seen my videos, you'll know exactly what happens next. Nice big pot, it's a 5 litre pot. And I just pour it all in. And so if I want to give them more sugar, which I do before winter, instead of having 1 2-kilo bag of sugar, 2 litres of water, I put 4 litres of sugar in there. So I generally only do that once we're past the summer period, because during summer, if I do that, it dries up too quick, crystallises, and they can't get to it. In winter, they work a lot faster and it's less likely to dry out. So right now it's 1-to-1 sugar-water mix. See that? We're just making sure we're nice and snug. Hopefully, ta-da! And there you have it. A beekeeping session with Brian with my favourite hive, my Long Langstroth. And what we've done, just to recap, we've checked all hive frames to see what honey they're doing, how much honey they're making. We've looked at the larval frames and the egg-laying frames to make sure we're queen right, which we are. We've checked to make sure there's no swarming activity, so we've looked for queen cups, drone cells, and new queens. No new queens, which is good. That means the hive is probably not going to swarm. We had a quick look for Varroa. Couldn't see any on the bees. I do need to run a more thorough Varroa check though, because it is present in Melbourne and it's causing quite some upset. I'm not scared of it. It'll present some challenges, but I'm ready to help my bees with that when we encounter it. And yeah, then we've fed the beehive and we've closed up the lid and we're ready to let it do its thing and just leave it alone for another week or two. Thanks for stopping by, and if you enjoy my content, by all means follow. Subscribe, YouTube speak. Cheers.